On March 27, 2025, the Trump administration shifted into high gear with a 25% tariff on all imported vehicles. The first impact zone, Mexico. The policy took effect on April 3rd, hitting one of America's most important auto partners head-on. What followed wasn't just an economic shift. It was a full-blown trade war with serious consequences across North America. This tariff wasn't just another policy. Washington framed it as a move to protect national security and American manufacturing. But under the hood, it sent shockwaves through a tightly interconnected North American supply chain. Mexico, which forms a key spoke in the continental auto wheel, took the hardest hit. Stellantis temporarily halted operations at its Toluca plant, signaling the start of broader disruption. Even vehicles compliant under the USMCA weren't immune. If they had parts from non-compliant sources, they were fair game. With every bolt and chip under scrutiny, the just-in-time supply chain stalled, threatening thousands of jobs across borders. But while the tariffs landed like a hammer, Mexico responded like a scalpel. President Claudia Sheinbaum didn't resort to immediate retaliation. Instead, she emphasized strategic recalibration. Mexico rolled out Planned Mexico, a national campaign to reduce reliance on imported vehicle components and boost domestic innovation. Their electric bus prototype, the Tariff, now boasts over 70% Mexican-made components. Meanwhile, Economy Secretary Marcelo Ebrard flew to Washington for closed-door talks, signaling a preference for diplomacy, but made it clear Mexico is prepared to deploy selective tariffs if necessary. Behind the scenes, Mexico is also laying the groundwork for something bigger, turning itself into a production hub for European automakers seeking USMCA benefits. That move could bring new investment and new leverage into the trade dynamic. Meanwhile, Canada took a very different route. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a direct counterstrike, a 25% retaliatory tariff on US vehicles that don't meet USMCA standards. It was a bold move meant to protect Canada's smaller but deeply integrated auto industry. Carney didn't stop there. He's also proposed a trade coalition with Mexico, one that could tilt the power balance in the hemisphere. The economic fallout was immediate. Stellantis cut operations and laid off 900 workers in the US markets staggered. In Mexico, Sheinbaum maintained steady public approval, holding at 64%, but signs of pressure are emerging from business groups and labor leaders. In Washington, the political divide deepened. Democrats criticized the tariffs as reckless and self-defeating. Republicans hailed them as a bold reclaiming of America's manufacturing backbone. Trump even declared April 3rd Liberation Day, signaling the beginning of what he calls an economic revival. But behind the slogans, supply chains are fraying, factories are idling, and a new trade dynamic is taking shape, one that could last for years. Mexico is expected to unveil its counter-tariff package by April 30th, likely targeting US agriculture, electronics, and beverages. At the same time, Sheinbaum is aggressively expanding trade relations with Europe and Asia. Still, disentangling Mexico from the US auto economy is no easy task. There are decades of interdependence baked into every engine and axle. As this geopolitical race accelerates, Washington finds itself at a crossroads. Is this a negotiating tactic or a fundamental shift toward protectionism? Prime Minister Carney has warned that weakening North America's unity only benefits foreign competitors. Secretary Ebrard's trip to Washington may be the last opportunity to pump the brakes before this turns into a full-scale trade pile-up. Through it all, Mexico has shown precision handling. While Canada roared with retaliation, Sheinbaum drove with strategy. Her administration's mix of diplomacy, policy planning, and industrial innovation, like the Tariff EV, has bought Mexico time, stability, and even a bit of respect. But the road ahead is still full of hazards. Supply lines remain under strain, factories are on edge, and the global market is watching closely. So now we turn to you. Will diplomacy triumph over economic pressure? Should Canada and Mexico form a united front? And is this just a temporary storm, or the start of a whole new trading era? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns on the road where politics meets power.